We take a look.
That's because the snow is not all the way done falling. We've got accumulation numbers anywhere from 6 to 8 inches for the majority of the 4 states. And yes, we will hit those road conditions, the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And the White House says an overnight raid in Syria took out the leader of ISIS. We'll have the details.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Construction crews in Iola, Kansas find a man dead at the site of a new elementary school. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, co-workers find a deceased construction worker inside a portable restroom. The discovery happened at the site of the new elementary school in Iola on the 200 block of North Kentucky. Just before 4 p.m. on Monday, workers found the body of 33-year-old Carlos Mendez Alvarado from Hayesville, Kansas. Iola police responded. Mendez Alvarado was taken to Frontier Forensics for an autopsy to determine the cause of his death. And an investigation is underway in Independence, Kansas, after police respond to reports of a chemical bomb explosion. It happened on Monday on the 1000 block of West Oak. Witnesses identified both the passenger and driver of a vehicle that drove past and saw them throw a bottle out that later exploded. Authorities say they are seeking the suspects for questioning. The Independence police chief says the bomb was made with typical household chemicals and that these types of bombs are unpredictable. It may not explode immediately, which can create a danger to unwary bystanders. He warns residents to stay away from suspected bottle bombs and to call police immediately. Joplin police are still urging people to stay off the roads and help first responders. The city's road conditions deteriorated overnight and into the morning hours, and police ask that you only call 911 for emergency situations. That'll reduce strain on emergency workers. Also, increase your following distance from what it normally is, as you may have trouble braking. Further north, the snow kept falling well into this morning in the Fort Scott area. The first round of snow and ice left behind several inches of precipitation there. Just east of Fort Scott, down Highway 54 to Nevada, Missouri, comes this video. As you can see, communities up in the northern part of our viewing area have been experiencing a decent amount of snow. Places around north of Nevada, Fort Scott line are up to, well, we'll get the exact count, but this morning up to 7 to 8 inches since it first began.
That's pretty much what we're sitting squarely in. And forgive Tanya and I for guffawing right there. What you didn't see while that video was rolling, somebody at the Missouri Department of Transportation tried to shake the snow off the camera on I-44.
Yeah.
By doing a 360, I did not know if they were going to be able to reset in time before we actually went to it. All right, Tanya, this is that same look that we've been paying attention to all morning, the 44-49 exchange right there. And we're seeing a little bit more traffic, certainly, than what we had this morning. But everybody pretty much moving still at a very slow pace. You also see our exit ramps here where those are covered. Those are certainly going to be slick throughout the course of the night. Like Tanya said, best thing to do, try to stay off the roadways. Now, the majority of the white that you see is cloud cover. If we remove that, we've still got snow rolling through the far southern portion of the 4 states and up through eastern southwest Missouri. But the heaviest of the snow getting a break for the time being. But for those of you along and south of I-44, we've got to turn our attention down to OKC up to Tulsa, because there's going to be a secondary ban for tonight into tomorrow morning. Frigid cold as it is, 12 to 18 degrees. We're not even going to see many people even make it to 20 today. Never mind worrying about a melt. We got a long time before we get there because that northeast wind still coming in close to 20 miles per hour, gusting around 25. What we've got for our future track today, once again, while the majority of the 4 states, especially the west and north, is pretty much done with our snow, watch the bottom of your screen as it rolls up through northeast Oklahoma, and then we get additional snowfall for portions of southern southwest Missouri. McDonald County is already sitting at around 6.5 to 7 inches of snow, probably get another 1.5 inches here before tonight is over. So as it makes its way through, that's the indicator of why our winter storm warning doesn't end for northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas until 3 a.m. Everybody else, though, slowly but surely being able to eliminate those counties out of the pink, meaning it's kind of coming to an end. Coming up here in just a little bit, Tanya, we'll talk about snow totals and finally find out when it's going to be able to melt. I was going to say warm up, and I'm like, Michael, it's not going to warm up.
We just want to
we'll
melt
just take
at
a melt.
this point.
Yeah.
We'll take that. Then we deal with the mud.
Right.
All right, thanks, Michael. Well, our massive winter storm is making its way across the country. The system is bringing snow, rain, sleet, and brutally cold temperatures, with more than 100 million Americans under winter weather alerts. More than 6,000 flights have been canceled. In Texas, heavy ice is starting to form. Last year, a winter storm there caused a power crisis lasting weeks. This storm is now making its way east, causing even more problems. Chris Van Cleve reports from Dallas.
Ice dangling from power lines, draping gas pumps, and coating highways. Frigid reminders of the damage freezing temperatures caused last year across Texas, prompting a rush to get ready.
It's as busy as it's ever, as I've ever seen it. It's people carrying out cases upon cases of water.
North of here, the brutal winter storm is pummeling the Midwest, sending out snowplows in full force. Parts of Illinois and Indiana are expecting the most snow, up to 18 inches by tonight.
I am not quite prepared today, but you know, you layer up and you brave it and you do what you can and hope for the summer.
Interstate 74 in Peoria was complete chaos as cars and big rigs tried to navigate the heavy snow. And across Texas, plummeting temperatures and icy conditions, major concerns for millions who weathered the deadly blackouts last winter.
Gas went out, and we had heat, only heat in some places. We had all sorts of problems last year.
On Tuesday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott said no one can guarantee there won't be any power outages during the storm, despite his past promise the lights would stay on this year.
We are ready. We're very ready.
Brad Jones is the interim CEO of Texas's power grid operator ERCOT. He says the grid is more reliable than ever.
The stuff that we've done for the past year, whether it's weatherizing our fleet or the way we operate our grid, it really has put us in a solid position.
The biggest test for power, though, could actually come on Friday, when temperatures and wind chill will feel like -6 degrees. Could be the biggest demand for power Texas has ever seen. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Dallas.
And that's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at Noon.
President Biden announces U.S. Special Forces took out the leader of ISIS in Syria overnight. I'm Deborah Alfarone at the White House with a look inside the operation against the terrorist leader.
And later, we're making beef stroganoff in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. U.S. Special Forces carry out a raid in Syria overnight, targeting the leader of ISIS. Deborah Alfarone has more details from the White House.
President Biden says U.S. Special Forces have taken out ISIS leader Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi al-Qurashi, also known as Haji Abdullah.
Last night's operation took a major terrorist leader off the battlefield, and it sent a strong message to terrorists around the world. We will come after you and find you.
The raid took place in the Syrian town of Atmeh, not far from the Turkish border. The president watched the operation with members of the National Security Team.
As our troops approached to capture the terrorist, in a final act of desperate cowardness, he, with no regard to the lives of his own family or others in the building, he chose to blow himself up, not just to the vest, but to blow up that third floor.
Syria's White Helmet Rescue Group says it found the bodies of 6 children and 4 women inside the rubble.
Knowing that this terrorist had chosen to surround himself with families, including children, we made a choice to pursue a special forces raid at a much greater risk than to our own people, rather than targeting him with an airstrike.
This man says he witnessed the raid. He says, we went out and saw planes above us. 10 minutes later, we heard screams, surrender, the house is surrounded.
The overnight attack on ISIS's leader comes amidst concerns that the terrorist organization was regrouping.
We've removed an ISIS commander, and that's very good news. Obviously, ISIS is a great threat to our interests, not only in the Middle East, but around the world.
ISIS attacked a prison camp on January 21st, holding about 3,000 of its former prisoners. It was the largest battle between the U.S. military and the group in 3 years. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
The Department of Justice had listed a $10 million reward for information leading to the ISIS leader. Still to come on the KOAM News at Noon, Mr. Food.
Looking for the ultimate comfort food? Well, look no more. Today, we're cooking up a classic favorite that dates back to the 17th century, yet has never gone out of style.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
Got some brand new storm reports that we're going to tackle here in a second. Of course, it can't come as any surprise that in the last 2.5 days alone, we've actually picked up more precipitation into the 3rd of February than we did the entire month of January. Just do a snow to water equation right there, and we're going to cruise past that. And we're sitting at about 5.5, 6 inches. Live look outside of Television City, and I hope that person pulling into our parking lot right there takes it easy, as I do outside of Landers Chevrolet in Joplin. A live look at I-44. Traffic proceeding much better than what it was this morning, but still, if you heed the advice of JPD and the Missouri Department of Transportation, they would rather have you stay inside today because we are still picking up some snow for the eastern portion of southwest Missouri all the way up 44 as we head towards Springfield and Rolla, and then also down south on 49, really from about the Missouri-Arkansas state line. Take that all the way down to Fort Smith. We were talking about some of these new storm reports. We'll kind of isolate these because I want to get the very latest out of these. Right down there by Grove, and instead of it being a snowflake, that is an ice indicator. 0.3 of an inch of ice on the roadways throughout Delaware County. That is significant. 0.3 of an inch is nothing to scoff at. Got a storm report coming out of Cherokee County, and we're 6.5 inches. And then as we move down into McDonald County, 5.8 inches. Now that storm report came in there at 10 a.m. They're already up to 6 inches, as is just about everybody. That darker blue indicating the 6 to 8 inches. Then as you transition into the purple, that's in excess of 8. So far eastern portion of southwest Missouri moving up through Springfield. Because they've still got more to come throughout the course of our day. And even down to the south there for northeast Oklahoma and also southern and southwest Missouri, let's remember that we've got a little bit more headed for tonight into early tomorrow morning. Wind tracker still coming in close to 20 miles per hour. And so what that does is take those temperatures right there from 12 to 18 degrees. But hey, I do have some good news. Those are positive numbers. Only a couple negatives out there, only a couple zeros out there. Now, you have to laugh when it's this cold. We know how dangerous it is, but once again, what's the difference between -1 and 4 when we're talking about a storm of this nature with some 100 million Americans involved in a winter storm watch, warning, or advisory, and of course, cruising right through us. But we have seen a couple of them expire. You'll notice the majority of the 4 states was included in that pink earlier, that winter storm warning. Well, now, right along the Kansas-Oklahoma state line, those have expired. Crawford and Jasper County, those have expired as well. Everybody else in southwest Missouri hanging on to the winter storm warning until 6 a.m. tomorrow, however. So that's quite an expansion. They were supposed to lift at midnight. Now we're going to take those all the way to 6 a.m. And that's an indicator that we've got more coming out of the Oklahoma City and Tulsa area, making its way toward us. Temperature is going to hang in the teens, and here's the important part of it. There it is, moving right along. So I can't let anybody that's going to be down to the south, especially if you're going to be on 44 or 49 tonight and tomorrow morning, don't let down your guard. Remember, we were just talking about 0.3 of an inch of ice in Delaware County. Well, there's not a whole lot of ice involved in this nighttime round, but what it will do is it will disguise the ice. That's right. That snow will cover it up, making it even harder to navigate. Now, by the time we get through tomorrow afternoon, everything finally pushing east of the Mississippi, do have a good chance for some flooding, though, for the southeastern portion of the United States to go along with this. We'll then be all consumed with trying to stay warm, as overnight lows will plummet down to the negatives. And then finally on Friday, we will be up around, say 25 degrees. So it's not enough to start the melt. That begins pretty much, Tanya, I'd say Sunday. That 35 is really not going to do anything to snow-packed 4 states. So on Sunday, we can finally begin that, probably lingering, though, especially in shaded spots until Tuesday or Wednesday because of our depth.
All right, well, I'm glad the feels like isn't as low as we were talking about yesterday. So that's one positive.
Well, we did have that this morning. We were dropping down to -8 this morning.
And it may work in one county that's still in a winter weather advisory, but the one I live in isn't anymore. So there's another positive.
-8, 0, +8. I don't think I'd know the difference.
Right? All right, I'm ready for the melt. It'll come. All right, thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's 4-state hero, Senior Master Sergeant Robert Osborne in the U.S. Air Force. The Fredonia, Kansas native was stationed in both Japan and South Korea from 1989 to 1991. Osborne earned a number of honors, including the Air Force Commendation Medal, the Outstanding Unit Award, and the National Defense Medal with 1 Bronze Service Star. To Senior Master Sergeant Robert Osborne, we thank you, our 4-state hero. Today's recipe is an oldie but a goodie. Howard shows us how to make a simple beef stroganoff in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
This time of year, no matter how much we want to cut back, we still crave comfort food in a big way. You know, the kinds of foods that warm us up and make us feel all cozy inside. And today, we have just the thing. It's a dish that dates back to the 17th century, yet is still very fitting. I'm talking about beef stroganoff. And if you got a minute, let me share how easy it is to throw together. The first thing we want to do is cut a boneless top sirloin steak into 1/4-inch slices. This gets sauteed in some melted butter, along with a bit of chopped onion and garlic until no pink remains. Takes just minutes. We sprinkle the top with a little flour and a good amount of black pepper. And for the sauce, we add a can of cream of mushroom soup, a can of cream of chicken soup, and some fresh mushrooms. After this simmers for a bit, we stir in some sour cream, and there you have it. It doesn't get any easier. When you serve this over buttered noodles, which is pretty traditional, or mashed potatoes, get ready for comfort at its best. The recipe for our simple beef stroganoff is online now, so you can make it as soon as tonight. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found an oldie but goodie way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
One more round before it's all said and done, mainly south of 44 through the nighttime hours. You live central, you live north. Anything you see is going to be blowing snow or very light snow, not enough really to have a bearing on new accumulation numbers, but still inch and a half down south. And then just prepare for frigid temps here next several days.
Oh my, what do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5 today is National Women Physicians Day, and February is Black History Month. We're going to meet one of the few women of color running a hospital, how her story has helped shape her approach to healthcare, and how she's blazing a trail for others. Plus, we ride along with a former first responder who's spending the day making sure other first responders get home safely. And snow days, well, they mean fun for some area kids. We're going to meet up with a group of kids spending the day sledding. Got to make the most of it. Hope you join us for those stories. A lot more, of course, big weather update coming up on KOAM News at 5.
That's right. Thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.